Number 5 was overweight, all right? Except the manager wanted his lander to land on the moon. So he thought he could adjust the books a little bit and trim a little weight here and there. He went to see the program manager. George, if I can reduce the weight on LEM 5, will you let it be a lander? Well, of course I will, Hugh. And so, because we'd like to have at least one more landing opportunity before the end of the decade. So, LEM 5 reduced the weight, and it became the spacecraft that Apollo 11 had. Had he not reduced the weight, the first landing would have been LEM, Lunar Module 6, Apollo 12, mid-September.
You know, this was back at a time when these were small nose capsules on top of intercontinental ballistic missiles that were meant to deliver nuclear warheads. People couldn't believe that somebody would strap themselves on top of this and get in one of these rockets, because they blew up with frightening regularity. So, and of course, they didn't even know back then what space and weightlessness would do to a human body. They thought maybe it would do something to your brain and you might pass out or just get all spacey and weird. They had names for it. But he was considered a true hero when it happened.
Were they safe to land on the moon, or did they have to? There was actually an abort button right there in the cockpit of the lunar module, a sort of Saturday morning cartoon version of an abort button, an actual red button. And if you pushed the red abort button, the lunar module took straight back off immediately and headed for orbit and safety. And so the question was, what did the alarm mean that was rattling the entire inside of the lunar module? Because, as I said, you only got one shot. There were no go-arounds. There was a $20 billion program at stake in that moment.
People in government were worried of dead astronauts, because what a bad national, in the Cold War, would be look like we do bad technology. Now here we're putting humans up, and because we wouldn't be able to retrieve their corpses, they would just be floating and floating and floating in space. So we do, and it's so moving to me that when Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin went on the moon, there's a second right before they're about to leave the moon, and you can hear Armstrong on that fuzzy intercom say, "Did you leave the packet?" And that packet is metals like that are there on the moon today, and in them the United States left a packet that included other things, but included metals to honor all the Soviet cosmonauts by name, the ones that had blown up and died.